not enough of guys that think like that in the space. So I've been online since 08. And I had a fitness company, but man, there's a lot of douchey people in the space.
Oh, dude, I've got health channels, and people are cruel. Everyone's an expert, and everyone finds significance. If they know anything about anything in that space, they will just. I'm like, man, you guys. I posted this video once where I've got like a lot of weight between my legs on the dips, and they were good solid dips. Like, hey. Halfway down, when are you going to complete your set? I'm busting out like 50s. I'm like, you asshole.
Totally.
You know, so I can't read any of them on health, especially. I don't even look at the comments. What's up, Kris Krohn here. I am pausing my own podcast to make sure that you have my cell phone number. Because as you're listening and thinking to yourself, man, I wish I could text Kris and ask him a real estate question or a business question, a marriage question, a health question. I got news for you. The phone number is right here. It's 385-217-3477. Save this in your phone and literally start texting me right now. Just drop your name and say, hey, Kris, it's whoever you are, and ask me a simple question. Let's go. Hey, excuse me, can we turn the heat down inside?
It's so hot.
Can we turn the heat down inside? Yeah, we made it. You guys did it. No one's gonna freeze. We're gonna make it.
We're like, woo, getting a little
Yeah, we're gonna take all our clothes off.
We're used to the heat before we get to Florida.
Yeah. So, by the way, do you know, this is your first time meeting Luis?
Yes.
So Luis is the director of our foundation.
Okay.
So last year he took us into Ukraine twice. Next month my wife and I are back in Ukraine with a team of donors.
Okay.
And next week we're in Mexico with one of our orphanages that rehabilitates, child sex slavery, rescued kids. The man's just so amazing. And for my wife and I, he makes, honestly, our dreams come true.
Yeah. Because
we were in this for-profit space, and our big dream is just to funnel and pile everything into, that's our legacy piece.
Yeah, totally.
And last year we found, Luis was like a year ago, wound up at one of my events, and he was facing some of his PTSD from his military time, and had such a profound breakthrough. And from that moment on, started writing proposals, let me lead your foundation. And after we met, it was a God moment where God just like, you've been waiting for 2 years, this is the guy.
Wow.
And so we let him in, and almost from day one, it was just an eruption of everything changing. Yeah. So he's an amazing man. Last month helped us put on our first teen event, 3-day breakthrough event for teenagers, teaching emotional breakthrough, really tackling the mental health crisis, helping teens with their anxiety and depression and suicide thoughts, ideation. Anyway, so he's here obviously because we're going to Tim Tebow's
Good job, brother.
And hoping to, make some really cool connections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, so us all serving a bigger purpose or our why, right? So what you just communicated, we're very much united with you in that.
That's why we said, come join us on the plane.
Yeah.
We want to meet such cool people.
Right.
Right? I actually reached out to Pete Vargas and I said, who are the other biggest donors? And he dropped your names and I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
Let's hang.
And then we got connected before then. I don't remember who connected. I think Jim Duke connected us because he's a good buddy of mine.
How cool was that? Synchronicity.
Yeah.
That was the other thing.
You guys were in San Diego on that yacht. We weren't.
That's the funny thing. They weren't.
We just said, it's a long story, but we're in the Wellspring, man. I told you about it. And we did some things for Tim Tebow at that. And we helped Pete kind of lead the way or whatever on that. By the way, I heard you played a major play. You helped them raise some money on that.
Well, they were doing an awful job, and I stole the microphone, and our jet's leaving, and I'm like...
He just seriously went to Pete, and he's like, give me the stage for 15 minutes. I guarantee I can triple the donation. And Pete's like, here.
Yeah.
And he did. And we were like so late to get to our plane, and the plane was about to say, if you're not here in like 5 minutes...
Yeah, the San Diego was shut down.
Then we'll fly out tomorrow morning. And we were like, no, we want to go home.
Yeah.
So we had to just drop.
Well, I'll give you I'll let you know how much we all did for the Tebow Foundation. So the deal Pete struck with Tim is that Tim, I'll raise $1 million for you on the boat, right? And then Tim's a kind of a part of the Wellspring, right? So before the boat, Tim came to the Wellspring, right? And I told Pete before Tim got there, I was like, you know, we're big into supporting victims of child trafficking. Let's raise money for Tim here at Wellspring. And he's like, nah, I don't know, I'm not sure. And
Wellspring's the perfect environment
And
for
so
that.
then the next day I was like, hey, dude.
It's a Christian-based mastermind.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just Christian-based entrepreneurs that come together.
Yeah.
And the intention is we're doing things for a higher purpose.
Yeah, totally.
That's perfect.
And so then we go to the next day. I was like, Tim, or Pete, we feel convicted, dude. You got to raise money for Tim here. And then I gave him my number, right? And I said, hey, if you do it, well, I'll be open with you guys. I said, hey, here's $100,000. Get the room going, right? So he got the room going with that $100,000 the next night, and they raised $2.5 million for Tim that night.
That's so awesome.
And the whole goal was
good
the
for
boat
you.
was the boat in the million, right?
Yeah.
And what did we end up getting on the boat?
Well, yeah. So here, I'm telling you the story. And so then I couldn't make the boat.
Yeah.
Or we couldn't make the boat. And so I was like, Pete, you saw how effective that was at Wellspring. So then we said, hey, we'll do. Here, I'm not talking about money here. I'm just telling a story.
Right.
I said, we'll do another $250 on the boat, even though we won't be there. Let's get the boat going. And then you ended up being, you gave, I think, what's openly 300, right? Or 350. And so that's why I think the two of us are going to the gala, if I'm not mistaken. But I think you guys raised like $5-6 million on the boat, didn't you?
I thought it was at least 4.
Well, they basically got to $1 million, and Luis and I tag team at my own events.
Yeah.
And, you know, we'll raise 7 figures at an event of like 400 or 500 people of just average caliber, like an ordinary audience, not entrepreneurs, business owners. And, you know, just.
Kris was like, this is pathetic. We could do so much better.
I was mad. Indignant.
So you guys raised, but how beautiful is that? So you guys raised, say, at $4 million.
Yeah.
The original goal was $1 million.
Yeah.
And between the two things, raised $6.6 million, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge.
Well, brother, we both played that role together, and we got to do something really kind of cool, which is super awesome.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I love it. Like the thing that's really changed my life more than anything is I'm always looking for. Okay, so this is pretty intimate, but I feel like this is like I can feel your hearts.
Yeah.
So my wife and I, we've got a relationship that is so meaningful that I can't do business and represent cheap product. I can't represent meaningless movements. And so I'm always asked, how do your principles at a personal level, how do they belong into everything? Where do they belong in entrepreneurship? And at some point, I had an opportunity with a lot of mentors over a decade to master my own, overcome my own trauma. And so this word breakthrough that Luis is using, I developed a technique that allows someone to find their limiting beliefs. You know, these are the messages where we go to shame and say, I'm not enough, I can't do it, I'll never be able to, it's not my DNA, I'm not smart enough, I'm not fast enough, I'm not. All these I am statements that desecrate potential. And basically build a secular, very spiritual to me, but a very secular methodology that would allow someone to control their transformation. And we found a way to help people do something so much more powerful, I believe, than modern day therapy. Sitting and talking about problems. Instead, it's like, no, this is a process. And over time, I created a program, a certification, a business out of it. And I had people paying me $500,000 a year just to private mentor with me. And then I got to the point where I'm like, okay, this is not accessible to the people that it's supposed to be. And that's when ultimately one day, you know, if anyone goes to any of my events, these interventions, these breakthrough moments, is because I love inspiring business principles, entrepreneurship, and wealth. But if you don't change your operating system about your self-belief, it doesn't really matter. Right. Because people are like, well, I tried that and I failed, and I tried that and I failed, and I'm a failure and nothing works. And I'm like, no. Your operating system doesn't work. Yeah. So at all of my events, there's always a psychological component that is greater than the actual tactical approach. Sure. And so when we started the foundation, I said, I just want to take all of this beautiful technology, I want to put it into the foundation. Yeah. And over time, let's build 1,000 coaches, and just for free, our certified team just goes out and provides breakthroughs to people. And breakthrough, I've seen it change lives, but I've also seen it especially save lives. When someone is so miserable and so sad and stooped in negativity all day long, and they finally have that moment where they awaken from it, well, that really kind of coalesces into the save lives component, with the innocent civilians that we're rescuing from the front lines, or supporting the orphanages or the refugees, and just looking for helping as many people as we can. So